So, hello everybody, Jade Scarlett here from It's Art O'Clock Somewhere. And I want to share with you guys some painting fun with watercolors. I recently got some watercolor kits like this one from Michaels. And they have different kits and it comes with the pre-printed sheets and all kinds of different subjects and also some paint and a brush. But I got some more paint and some extra brushes just in case because I don't know how this is going to work. But I thought that this is a lot of fun because you have all of these different subjects to paint. So I want to share with you guys first all the kits that I got. I managed to snag all of them except for the floral. I know, right? Boo-hoo. Like, why? They didn't have it here. And at my local Michael's. And the one that I was missing, I would have to spend like $59. So it was delivered for free. And I was just like, no, I've already spent money on those. So it's okay. Maybe if they bring it again, I'll snag it. But if not, trust me, there is plenty here for us to play with. And what I wanted to do is give you guys a hand painting it because the reality is the kit comes with the pre-printed image on the watercolor paper already, but no instructions. It doesn't tell you at all. It tells you how to test the color. Like the instructions here only says test the color opacity of your paint on a scrap piece of paper, work from light colors first to darkest letter, but it doesn't give you any real instructions. So I felt, what if I just show you guys some ideas on how you can use this product? And also, guess what? Now they're on sale for $6.99, and that is a really good deal because you get 4 paintings here that you can work on, and you can work with a palette. I'm certainly gonna try the palette and see if I like, but I have just some others as a backup just in case. So I'm thinking about doing this every day until I get through all of the ones that I bought, because honestly, that is also going to give me the incentive I'm going to need to go through all of this kit. That's a lot. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is switch to the overhead camera, which is the one I'm going to use to show you guys what I got and what's in here so we can get started painting. So give me 1 second and I will switch the camera. Guys, gonna have to give me, oh, okay, I'm just actually also testing this new streaming system, which is StreamYard. Oh, okay, work it, perfect. All right, so let me, yeah, we have it like that. All right, so I like it. I'm just kind of like practicing this, and it does work. You can still see me on this camera and here. Not that, you know, you should be interested in seeing me, but I just want to play with this. I have another camera that I'm going to use in a minute. Let me put it on so you guys can see, which is the palette cam. So just something fun, fancy here. I'm liking it. It's my very first time using this new system. So we have 3 cameras. And when the time comes to use the palette cam, I'll get to that as well. Okay, so let's go over this. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. Let me check. Yeah, okay, some more light. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here are the kits. Like I said, I got them from Michaels. They are their own brand, the Artist Loft brand. Oh, what happened here? I don't know. And each of the kits has a theme. So 4 pre-printed watercolor papers for you to paint, as well as a palette and a brush. So this one here, the theme obviously is dogs. One thing that, especially if they're aiming this at beginners, actually, that would be 2 things that I have to say, is that it doesn't have any instructions, which is a bummer, especially if you don't know how to use watercolors to begin with. But the second thing, they could have at least, I would have appreciated a lot if they had made the pictures bigger. Like they could have put here, since, you know, those instructions are basically not that great, they could have put the 4 big pictures here. And that way you could at least see what the project is to try to emulate it. But let's open this one because I want to show, actually I already have one that is open, so you guys can see what's inside. You know what? Before we even do that, let's go through all of the different projects. So this one here is the dogs. Very cute. I have to say, I'm really excited to paint this little guy here because he's got some sad face, and considering that it's his birthday and his paws look like they're full of cake, I think he's sad because maybe his tummy aches. He ate too much. Okay, so that's the dogs. We put it on the side. This one here is for all the lovers of lettering. So this is the lettering set, and you have some nice sentiments and then some painting to go with it. The next one is the fruit. So I want to paint this watermelon here just because I've been craving watermelons. The pineapple looks pretty good. Oh my God, you guys, I almost did this. Can you imagine? We're so addicted to zooming in on our phones. I wish we could do this here and see what this picture looks like. The next one is the sea life. I'm really excited about painting this sea turtle as well as the whales. Very, very nice project. I'm loving it. And I think maybe I'll just get started with this one. So you know what? I'm going to leave this one on the side. The next one is so cute, is the wild animals. And honestly speaking, I love all 4 so much. It will be hard to choose. Yes, I know, right? Look at all those colors. I love it. And the flowers. I don't know. I might just try to save myself the pain of trying to choose and just work in order of whatever the papers are here. The next one, again, we have cute animals. This one is the woodland animals. So adorable. This fox is so cute. And again, I would have such a hard time choosing which one to paint first because I just love them all. Oops, my palette cam just tilted here. Okay. You guys, hold on one second. I just need to put something heavy to hold it. Has a base here. Let me see. Maybe this will be heavy enough. Nope, not heavy enough. You know what? It's okay. I'm just going to leave it like this for now. And I will sort it out when we actually start painting, because I do have something inside that I know it's going to be heavy enough to hold that. Okay, so where were we? Here. More animals, and this one is for birds. I'm loving the colors here. This is so beautiful. And I love hummingbirds. I think they're absolutely adorable. So again, another one that is going to be hard to choose. Okay, on to the next. This one is the landscape set. So you have some different types of landscapes. You have this beautiful sunset in the woods. There's another sunset here, but it's more of a desert theme. and then mountains and a lake, snow-capped. This is like very Bob Rossi-like, right? And a barn and a farm. So landscapes. This one, super adorable as well. This is the bugs and butterflies. I love it. This one here with the bees is just so cute. Oh, this one here is one of my favorites, and it's the natural objects. And I love, 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 love. We have like those crystals and some feathers and leaves and seashells. And those are some of my favorite things. So I'm really excited about painting this one as well. I know I keep saying I'm excited about this one as well. Oh my God. This one is the one that I was already opened. And of course, those of you who know me, you know that the one that was going to get me the most excited is the cats, of course. And I love them all. I don't even know which one I want to paint the most. I don't know. They're just so adorable. And since this one is the open one, let's just look at the contents inside. So I never even opened to see the paper. To be honest, I just went out on a limb, but I said, you know, I think this one might be fun. You know, I think maybe my previous students or fans of my page might enjoy learning how to paint using those kits. Okay, so let's see. Of course, I'm not expecting the watercolor paper to be top of the line. It's going to be a cellulose paper, and it's thin. So this here is 90 pounds. And we're probably not going to work with very, very wet washes, but it's okay. I like the texture, which is going to make it nice to create. And oh my God, they're so cute. They're adorable. And as you see, you have lots and lots of space to paint. It kind of goes all the way to the edge. And here we have the, let me put this back. We have the paintbrush that came with it and the paints, which again, I'm not sure how they are, how pigmented they are. Again, it's an inexpensive kit for fun. I don't know what's happening here. So I'm not expecting anything to be top of the line, but if it's good enough, that works for us, right? So we have quite a selection of colors. I wouldn't really say that those spaces are big enough to mix. So I'll definitely take a plate with me so I have more space to mix my colors. So anything would work. You can go ahead and get a ceramic plate. You know, you can pick something up from a thrift store, from Dollar General, Dollar Store, and you can use that. But honestly speaking, a plastic lid would work. So maybe this. I don't like to mix colors very much on the flimsy plastic like this, but hey, whatever, right? We just like, we don't have to get anything special. We can just use what's here. And here is the brush. I think they could have given us two brushes, you know, like one that is a little bit bigger than this one, so we can paint larger areas, and then one very small for details. But I gotcha, because I got some extra brushes. So this is what's inside the kit, and we can continue with the last three. And this one here is beach scenes. So you have this lighthouse, this palm tree silhouette, which is very popular for beach scenes, the one with the beach umbrellas, and the one with the boat sailing. That's that. And then we have the plants, and we got some cactus and succulents, which is really nice. We have this here. Oh, mushrooms. I love, 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 love mushrooms. These are one of my favorite things to paint. And then this beautiful leaf with the polka dots and the pink behind. So this is going to be a lot of fun as well. And then finally, we have the desserts, the sweets. And I don't know, I think I want to start with this one. Maybe I'll start by painting the macarons just because I've been thinking so much about Paris. I was there a couple of years ago for my birthday. And I really wish I could be there again for this coming birthday, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I was looking at the macarons and I'm thinking, oh, you know what? That might connect me to my memories to Paris. So I think I'm going to start with the macarons. So if you guys have any questions, I just want to check here to make sure that I can get comments look like this. I think it's saying here that if you want to comment, you need to give permission to StreamYard. Post, read, I'm not sure. So hopefully if you can see this, if you're watching, if you could just put a quick comment just so I can see. Let me see. Let me post a comment. And can you guys see my comment? And if there's anyone watching, please. I just saw that my comment went through both on my page and YouTube because I'm apparently broadcasting to both. Like I said, I am... Looks like a good practice group of paintings. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. It's not telling me who you are. It's just saying Facebook user. Like I said, I'm trying to use this platform for the first time today. So this is brand new for me. I really like that I can have different cameras to show you. But yes, it's definitely a good practice for paintings because you can practice all kinds of techniques. So that's why I decided to get it and go live on Facebook and show you guys. So, you know, if you want to paint along or if you just want to see the techniques that I'm using. But, you know, next time you go to Michael's, just grab, you know, the ones that really speak to you. So I'm going to open it and get the macarons. And then I'm going to show you, I got some more paints. I mean, I already have them, but I'm going to show you the ones that I think might be a good option here. And I don't know, I'll just test this out first and then see how it works. And here is the paintings. So let's grab the macarons. And I like that the subjects are quite big because it gives you lots of space to practice, which is excellent. So her lollipops there are the macarons. Yeah. All right, let me put this on the side and let me show you guys. Okay, so here is the palette and the brush that came with it. I am thinking about using my Winsor & Newton Cotman palette as well. And this one you can also pick up at Michael's. And Cotman, Winsor & Newton Cotman is an excellent watercolor for beginners. So definitely give it a try because I promise you're going to love it. There's a lot of pigment here. It's really, really good student quality paint. Another one that I might want to play with it is my Watercolor Confections by Art Philosophy. And those two sets seemed very appropriate for the subject. So is the Pastel Dreams and the Decadent Pies. Again, you don't need to use anything different. You can just really use the kit that came with it, which I am going to try, I promise. I just wanted to have some alternatives. So these are the colors that are in the pastel dreams, and I just like, I couldn't resist because you have all of this really gorgeous colors that you would see on Patisserie France, and see all of those gorgeous different macaron colors. Oops. So yeah, I might go with that. And the Decadent Pies, the only reason I got it, to be honest, is because of the few metallics. I might want to add some. So there's a couple of metallics here on top. But I don't know if I'm going to use this as much as the other, especially not for the macaron. I kind of like this color here. So I might, I don't know, I'll leave it open. And then finally, of course, we have our watercolors that came with the set. So the very, very first thing I want to do, I want to try those out. And I'm going to make a swatch and see what those colors look like. I'm going to get some here. Some paper, and just gonna get my spray bottle, and I'm going to wet them so we can activate them. And that's always a good idea when you're working with dry watercolors like this, watercolor cakes, to spray them so they can get activated. And here is the brush that came with. So let's try that on. But I wanted to show you guys, I did get a couple of brushes from Royal and Langnickel. They are supposed to imitate 5 pieces. I'm missing one piece here. Oh, okay. Whatever. I must have put it in another thing. So they're supposed to imitate a squirrel, and they're very soft, but they also have a little bit of the snap of synthetic brushes. And honestly speaking, the reason I got both is because I wanted both sizes of the round brush. And this one came with this size, which is a size 8. And as you see, there is no standard when it comes to sizing or brushes, because both of those manufacturers decided to call this brush a size 8. So you can never really trust the size that's said. And then the other set came with a smaller one, which is a size 6. And you don't really need to get these brushes at all. I'm wondering if there is a smaller one, because I put all of them here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I don't know. That says 5 and 5, but I'm not finding the other one. But I do want a smaller brush, so I am going to select. And this is this set here is actually also from Michaels, and it has this small watercolor brush, so I might get that one. So I don't know. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Found it. The little one. Okay, so yeah, I don't need anything else. I just need those sets that I got. And they were also, I think the regular price, if I'm not mistaken, was $9.99, but I had a 30% off entire purchase coupon that day. So I was able to get both of them for less because I used that coupon. All right, so I'm just going to put here the ones that I think I will use. I'm definitely not going to use any of those bigger ones. So I'm just going to put those smaller ones. And I'm going to put this guys on the side here. And I'm going to start with the brush that came with it, of course, so I can use here. So let's see. Let's swatch. See what kind of colors. So this to me here looks like a burnt sienna. It's decently pigmented. It's not bad at all. Let me get a tissue. Okay, now let's try the next color. I'm just going to bring my water closer. And now we have this green that to me looks like phthalo green. Okay. Now this is probably phthalo blue. Yes, it is. Not so bad, you guys. Not so bad. Good pigmentation here. This is probably trying to imitate cerulean blue, but it's nice sky blue. Let's try this orange. Nice. Nice and bright. Very pigmented. I am quite surprised. This here is burnt umber. This looks like a violet, and yes, it is. Pretty, pretty violet. And the next one looks like it could be olive green. No, it's more like a green gold, to be honest. Beautiful green. All right, and the next one, let's see. That looks like a, actually, that looks like a cobalt blue imitation. Pretty nice, actually. Let's see the red. That looks like a warm red. Yeah, that's just like, looks a lot like Scarlet Lake. This here looks like lemon yellow, and indeed it is. Then the next, this looks like black. So, and yes, it's a very cool black. I would say this is something like ivory black. Yeah. The next one to me looks like yellow ochre. Yep. You know what, guys? This isn't bad at all. This isn't bad at all, at all. This here looks like a turquoise. Yeah, and a pretty turquoise too. That's going to be really nice to use on those beach scenes. This here, I'm hoping it's ultramarine. Not quite. This is more like a phthalo blue. This here, it's more like phthalo turquoise. It's phthalo, but it has a little bit of green in it. This, I'm assuming, is going to be crimson because we already have the warm red. I mean, the cool, yeah, the warm red. Honestly, this could have been a little bit cooler. It's very close to this one here. It is a little bit on the cool side, but the palette would have been more versatile if this was a cooler red. And here we have the warm yellow, which honestly speaking, let's put it side by side with it. There is very little difference between the two. It's definitely a little bit warmer, but not like super warm. So here's the palette. Let's see how delicate this brush is and if it holds a nice point for detail areas. Oops. Got a big blob of water. I guess so. We'll see. I guess, you know, it's only when we start painting really that we'll be able to see. I will, it's quite small actually, to be honest, for such a huge subject. So I might just cheat a little bit and use one of the bigger brushes that I have here. But I will use this palette only, I think. And you know, one thing is that we don't necessarily have to follow the colors, but just for this first project, let's keep it simple and use this as a guide. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that what if the image that they have on the website can be enlarged? So shall we try that and see if we can see better the details? I mean, for this painting, I'm going to save this as my color swatch, but I think it's worth a try. So if you guys give me 1 second, I have one iPad is right here as the palette cam. I'm going to get my other iPad and see if we can use that to find the image, but most importantly, to see if we can enlarge it. So give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Let's search for watercolor kits. There we go. Where is the, you know what? Let me look at the flowers again. You guys, it's available. You know what? Let me just put here for a second. And continue shopping. Sea life, sentiment, bugs, natural objects, plants, dogs, birds. Where's the dessert? Okay, let's go back. Dessert. There you go. Here we go. Dessert. Okay. All right, you guys. Moment of truth, huh? Dun, dun, dun. It does not. Okay. Well, that's kind of messed up, but it's a little bit better than what we had. Yeah, it does not let me. Okay, but we can come here. And do this. Let's see if I can do this with, oop, my pinky doesn't have enough. I'm trying to take a screenshot. Did I do it? I did it. Yes. Oh, let's see if I can make this happen. And then I would do this with all of them in advance, of course. I think I just helped us, guys. Let's go back now. Where is it? Right here. Ta-da! Here we go. So this is definitely better than trying to work with this tiny picture, right? Look at the difference. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the time to take a screenshot of all of them so it's easier for us to see. Now I'm gonna get started using just the palette that came and the suggestions for colors that they're giving us here. And the techniques here, they're pretty simple. There is a first layer that was added, and that's a very, very light layer. And this color looks like this one here. And the paper then dried, and there was another layer added to start creating some shading. And then that layer dried, and then another layer a little bit more intense was added in certain areas. Same here and same here in the center. So this whole thing was created in layers of wet on dry. So you don't have to worry about the paper getting too warped, because we're going to work mostly wet on dry. Okay, so let me get organized. I will move the iPad to the side. I'm going to bring this guy here. I will try to use this here to build up the color. So I am going to move these guys now from here, because I want to zoom. No, I don't need this. I just need this. I want to zoom in and just give me 1 second. I don't know what happened to the other camera that had my face on, but nobody needs to see that, of course. I'm just really trying to understand how this new platform works, so not to worry about that. And I am going to use my bigger brush, my Zen, and that gives me a chance to also test out these brushes and see if they're any good. And I'm going to mix a very light wash of this green, which is the second color here. So I'm going to get some water on my brush, and I'm going to make a pile right here in one of those areas that are for mixing, and I'm going to get a little bit of pigment. So remember, we're going to start with a very light wash. That's what I'm seeing there on the picture. So I'm going to test it out. Let me get another paper, another piece of paper, because I want to leave that one as my tester. No, as my palette swatch, and I have more paper here. Here we go. So let's test this color, shall we? Even closer. Now, considering that this is going to dry lighter, because one thing that we need to take into consideration is that watercolors dry about 30% lighter than what they are on their wet. So let's see exactly what that means. See how this looks like now? Let me get my heat gun. I can find it, that is. Here it is. Let's dry, and you guys will see what happens. So now that it's dry, it's a little bit lighter than it was before, but I think that this is just right for the first layer. So we're going to go ahead and paint the whole macaron with this first color. And that's when I say that brush is really small. So I'm going to use my Royal Langnickel Zen size 8. I could even go for a bigger one, but let me go with this one. So I'm just loading my brush. And you want to make sure that when you are adding watercolor layers, you paint with the whole brush. In other words, instead of going like this, just using the tip of the brush, use the whole of the brush because you can cover that area much, much faster. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, and the whole thing is covered. And you could say, oh, but why can't I paint slowly? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. However, in watercolor, we use different techniques, and some of them rely heavily on the paper still being wet. So if you're painting with just the tip of the brush, it's going to take you longer. So that's why it's a good idea to, did you see how I use just the tip of the brush here? So it's a good idea to start from the beginning by using the whole brush and the tip of the brush. So you practice using both. So here we have our first flat wash. The whole thing we covered with a pretty mint green. And now I'm going to rinse my brush and I'm going to dry because we need to add darker layers because we're going to layer this. This is how we're going to paint this macaron. Okay, so shaking it a little bit to remove the heat. And if there's anyone watching, would you be so kind as to put a comment so I know that there's someone watching? Because I don't know. It doesn't tell me. And I could be here just talking to myself, which still not going to stop me. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. But I just would love to know if there's at least one person watching. And if you can tell me if you're enjoying this or, you know, or not. If you want to give me any constructive critique as well, I appreciate. Like I said, I'm just trying this new streaming platform. I'm making sure that everything works. I already noticed that one thing doesn't work, which is the other camera, the one that I had right in front of me, went kaput for no reason. So I'll think about that later. But for now, I just want to continue painting. So, hi, Pam. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you are talking to me. Oh, wow. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're enjoying this. A little bit of fun that I thought, you know, you guys might enjoy using these new kits. I'm having fun so far. Thank you, Pam. That's so kind of you. I'm so glad. It just makes me so much better to know that I'm not talking to myself. And please feel free to ask any questions if you have. I'll be more than happy. Now I can see all the comments on the side. So this is working very well. So I'm loving it. All right. So shall we continue the painting and go to the next stage? So awesome. Thank you so much, Terry. So good sound, good quality video. That's good. I really appreciate you telling me that because this is a paid service, StreamYard, and it's not exactly super cheap. So I just really want to make sure that it's providing the quality of sound and image to my students and everybody who watches my videos on my page that is a good value for the money. So I'm just happy that you're telling me that, so I know that I can continue using this platform. And I'm pretty sure I'm also able to record those sessions, so I can save it somewhere for those that could not make it to the live, because like I said, the plan is to paint all of those pictures. All right, so continuing with our painting. we are going to start with the darker layers. So here I see that there's 2 levels. There is one that is a little bit darker than the color that we put on the background, and then one that is a little bit darker even. So there are 2 ways we could approach this. One, let me bring the palette here. I could add a little more pigment to my initial mixture, and that would make it darker. Or I could glaze with the same exact mixture, because this is going to add an extra layer to the previous one, and it's going to make it darker. Since the variation here on the value, and the value is the relative lightness and darkness of color, since the variation isn't too great between this value here and this value here, I'm going to opt for glazing with the same mixture and see what happens. And I'm going to go over even this area here where it's darkest, because I might be able to glaze a 3rd time. So all of those glazes, I'm going to start with the same value that we used previously. So let me put this here so you guys can see rather than seeing the palette. I'm going to bring the palette here so you see what I'm working. And sorry about that. Oh, I moved. That's the ring light. So I'm going to start by adding all of those darker values with the same brush and the same exact mixture that we used before. I'm just stirring it a little bit, because when you have very watery mixtures like this, sometimes the pigment tends to settle on the bottom. And I'm going to start right here, and the drawing is making it quite easy for us. I mean, I suppose that's the whole idea, right? It's a beginner set, so it's giving you all of the guidelines that you need. Not so much here, but we can see from the image that it goes all the way around. And it kind of stops right here. And this one joins right here with this darker line that is right below the drawing there. And it goes all the way around. And goes up like this. And then there is another layer of dark right below that line there on top. And this line joins here. So this is our next value up. We're going to continue building to add the darker one. Now let's see what's happening here on the bottom. This here is going to be a darker green, so we're going to mix it later, but I already want to give that sense of the darkness. So this here is the filling of the macaron. Oh my God, you guys, as I paint this macaron, I am craving one so badly. I'm thinking, where can I get them? And the only place that I can think is they have a sugar factory inside Hard Rock Cafe and Casino. And next to it, connected, because I think they're the same, they're part of the same thing, is, I think it's called American Sugar Factory, American Brasserie. And they have tons of different desserts. And if I'm not mistaken, the last time I went there, I think I saw macarons. Not exactly sure how great they will be, but I think I'm going to go there later and get some. Much later though, because today the weather, actually no, I can't. I can't. I have to fast. I might as well eat something before I forget, because we're celebrating a holiday today that I will fast. I can't fast 100% because I'm diabetic. But I will not be eating anything and everything. I'll just eat something very plain, very simple, just to keep my sugar from crashing. So I guess the macaron will wait until Monday. For now, just bake the macaron and enjoy it vicariously like that. Okay, so this was our second layer. So here, let's bring this back. We have the second dark value. So now we're going to add a third one. And I'm going to try and glaze with the same, but I might need to beef it up a little bit and add more pigment. So let's see. But the first thing I need to do is dry, because anytime you are glazing, you need to make sure that your previous layer is bone dry. In other words, if I try to add another layer and the paper is slightly damp, and sometimes you don't even feel it because you touch it and it feels dry, right? And nothing's coming off on my fingers, but the paper might be damp underneath the fibers. And if I try to glaze a new layer, it might lift this color. So how do you tell if this is truly dry, if not just by touching? Well, feel it with the back of your hand. If it feels cold, it means that it's still damp underneath the fibers. If it feels room temperature, it means it's completely dry. Well, mine is feeling cold, so I'm gonna pull up my heat gun and dry it. Okay, now let's continue working with, I'm going to make sure that I don't have that obnoxious ring light flare. So let's continue working on building those layers without adding anything. We'll see. I have a feeling we'll need to, at this point, add more pigment, but I want to try it first. So again, working with that one single color. And now I'm not going to cover everything. I'm just going to start covering where I see that it's a little bit darker. And you know what? It is time to add a little bit more pigment, because is it getting darker? Yes, of course. You could keep adding those layers here again and again out of the same exact value that we started with. Would a hairdryer work for it? Yeah, absolutely. The only reason I use the heat gun is because I keep it here next to my table for other stuff that I use with the heat gun, but blow dryer works, anything that will dry. So yes, I was saying, it's going to take a bit of time, and we don't have to glaze 10 layers to get to that value. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a little more pigment, and I'm going to add, and I'm going to, go slowly. I don't want to get this too dark too soon. So that's why I'm going to add a little bit, and I'm going to bring back my initial swatch. Let's see how darker. It's still not getting dark enough, right? I mean, if we look here on the other camera, it's quite darker than the one that we're working with. So let's bring this palette here and let's rub that cake a little bit more and add. And I'm going to add little bits at a time, and then I'll try it out. So let's see. Oh, okay. Now we're talking. Maybe a little bit more. And let's see now. Okay. So again, oops. We're going to work on those dark layers here on top. And let's see if now our new, and I'm using just the tip of the brush now because this is a small area. Oh, yeah, look at that. Now we're talking. Now we're getting that darker value. So this comes here, and then it turns. And we're still going to see a little bit of the light here. We're not going to cover all of it. So this area here, it gets a little bit darker. And here, we also have this one. And they merge. Using just the tip of the brush to make sure that that line goes to create that rounded effect. Here also gets that darker value. Gets a little bit lighter here, so I'm not going to put anything there. A little bit here. And this is where it gets lighter. So here's what I want to do. I want to blend those transitions a little bit. So to blend it, I'm going to rinse my brush. And I don't want to remove all the water, so I'm just going to slightly dab. So now I don't have a dripping brush, I just have a wet brush. And with just the tip of the brush, I'm going to blend. And you see how I'm getting rid of that hard line separating the lighter and the darker value. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So small round strokes with a very tiny amount of water. Seems like I need a little more water now. And I always pat it dry a little bit because I don't want a brush that is dripping wet. I want just a small amount of water. And you see how that is blending those values a little bit. I don't want to have all of those edges hard, which they are right now. And a hard edge is this very well-defined edge. I just want to make them a little bit fuzzy. Okay. So that's the top. We do have one more layer to add where we're going to make a little bit darker, but I'm going to let that dry and I'm going to work on the center. So here on the top, this part here, it looks like is the filling. And when we look here, it's hard to tell. I think the way they worked with this project was to using just one single color per macaron and just change the value. So the filling here appears to me to be just a much darker version of the color we'll be using. So rather than adding more pigment, I'm going to paint this part here on the bottom and the shading right here underneath. So this part here is dark. And it comes here to the side as well, where it's casting a little shadow. And I'm going to use my blending technique again. So I'm rinsing my brush, blotting a little bit, and I'm going to blend it. Nice. And I'm just going to reinforce this dark edge right here underneath this line, and because it's going to go over the previous layer, it is going to make it a little bit darker. And again, going to blend it. And that is what this is. And it seems to have some sort of a, I don't know if they're like shadows or sprinkles, not sure what it is here, but there's something going on here. But first, I am going to add a little bit more shading here. So I don't want to lose this mixture. I want it to be lighter, so I'm going to bring it to this side and bring a little bit of color. And so this is lighter, and I'm going to reglaze it here on top. So that is our third glaze. We're going to add one more. We're going to reinforce some of the shadows. So I'm going to add quite a bit of the pigment. Try it out to see how darker it is. Not dark enough. We could really darken that a little bit more. Yeah, now we're talking. And I'm going to switch to the small brush because we're going to work with very small details now. So I want to make sure I don't have too big a brush. So this is another one of the Zen Royal Langnickel that I got. This is the size 2. And I'm going to get that. So I'm just loading my palette and making sure that I remove the excess and everything is dry. I'm just going to add a little bit of this dark right where the lines are. And that will kind of like cover up some of those lines and add some, you know, that's not dark enough. I don't think this pigment can stand getting as dark as I need to. So I will add a teeny tiny amount of black. Where was the black here? Yeah, just to darken it a little bit. Okay, so back again. Let's see if that works a little bit better. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right. So just reinforcing some areas, kind of creating more depth by adding the different values. And I'm going to be economical here, guys. Whenever you're adding very dark values, you want to make sure that you don't go crazy, because a little bit and your painting will pop. Too much and you just overwhelm everything with dark values. So I'm just adding little bits here and there, and you see that it creates more depth. And I'm going to use this dark green to paint this area here, which is the filling. So using my smaller brush, just the tip of the brush. So this is the green that we added a little bit of black to darken the value. Okay. And then finally, we have those little squiggly lines. Let me see if I can see it better. Yeah, we can't really see at all what that means, but I'm just going to add them. So just trying to be random here, have a little bit of a nervous hand, so kind of get a little bit of the shakes, just so we don't have straight lines. And finally, what I want to do, just to bring everything together, I want to do one final glaze with a very light layer. So let me dry this. nice and dry. Go back to the bigger brush, because whenever you're glazing, you don't want to disturb the layers. So use the biggest brush you can. So I'm going to make another pile here, another wash with lots and lots of water, just a small amount of pigment. I don't want to dramatically change anything that I've already had there in terms of my values, but I do want to bring all those layers together. So I want to make sure that this value is as light as the first one, and it is. And I'm going to add my last layer, and this is going to be an overall layer. And this layer is going to help unify everything that we have there. And notice how I'm not scrubbing. I just go straight with the stroke using the whole brush, so I don't lift any layers underneath. And lo and behold, we have this. But you know what? The one thing that I'm noticing here is that center needs to be just a tad darker. So I'm going to add that one less layer and we're really done. So let me dry it. And I'm going to go back to my smaller brush because that's quite a small area. And I'm going to add a little more pigment here. I'm going to add a little bit of blue, actually, to darken that a little. And a tiny little bit of black. And I think that's going to be dark enough. And I'm just going to add, oh yeah, look at this, guys. Now we're talking. Really dark. And I'm not going to cover the whole thing. I'm just making scribbly strokes here. Because according to that picture that Michaels is giving us, this here is the darkest value. And I'm going to add teeny amounts here and there to create that sense of more depth, just a little bit, not too much. I'm adding those scribbly strokes here too. I'll add a little bit here. And I'll soften that with a damp brush. A little bit here, and again, soften it. And a little bit here. And soften it. And yes, that is our first macaron. Now, I would continue painting all of them in the same fashion. They basically used just one color per each macaron. So I'm assuming this here is this red, this here is that brown with a little bit of black, and then the yellow, the purple, and here I'm assuming they used the black to make this beigey forms. Oops, can't see the whole thing. Here we go. So I would just continue painting all the other macarons like this and use the same exact technique. And I hope you guys have enjoyed painting with me this afternoon. I will come back and let me just switch to the camera so I can see you guys. Hold on. No, I can't see you guys, so you guys can see me. There. So yes, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little demonstration. Like I said, I will come on Facebook every day. Not tomorrow. I'm going to start that on Monday. And because I know that some of you live on the West Coast, some live on the East Coast, I'm going to try to do different times. So some in the morning, some in the afternoon. So everybody has a chance. But if you are on my email list, I will send out an email and let you know exactly what time I'm coming on. And I'm also going to put a post in the morning letting you know. So if you want to check my posts on either Facebook or Instagram, I will let you know exactly what time every day I'm going to go live. Which one I'm doing next? Probably, I'm thinking the sea life, because I'm really loving this whale and the turtle. And I want to show you guys how to create those beautiful blended backgrounds. So this is the one that I'm going to get started. And I will let you know also when I put my post. So 2 places you can check to see what time and which one I'm creating. It's on my Facebook page. It's Art O'Clock Somewhere. I'm going to post before I go live so you know what time I'm going live. And I will put a picture of which one I'm going to be painting that day. And also I'm going to send an email to everyone on Monday letting you know that this is going to be happening for the next few weeks. And I'll throw in some surprises there for you. So you might have some freebies to download and print as well. Thank you so much, guys, for talking to me, letting me know that you were there. It's always a little bit nervy when you go live on different platforms, because right now this is streaming to both Facebook and YouTube. And I know it's not like Zoom where we're all there together. Although, if you guys ever want to, be on camera with me, I can do that with this platform. I can send you an invite to be on camera and you can totally share the screen with me. So I'm really enjoying that as well. So thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will see you again on Monday. Lots of love. And as always, stay creative. Bye, guys.